Good afternoon from the Shuswap Community Teaching Garden on Tuesday, June 25th, almost the end of June. It's hard to believe. We had a beautiful Harvest Tuesday, so that is now happening every Tuesday from 9 until 10:30 is when we fast and furiously harvest the most mature, what's ready to take down to second harvest. We try and get it down there close to 10:30 so that their volunteers can also still process and manage what they do on their end so that they can provide the food to the clients on Wednesdays. So today I have never seen as many perfect, big, tasty radishes. We've never grown those here. So it's been a really good spring in many ways. I know it's been struggling for things like cucumbers and tomatoes and peppers, but yet for lettuce and radish and perhaps for other people's different kinds of, Chinese cabbage or any of the other greens, it's been a really good season. And so for us here, we took a beautiful lettuce today, head lettuce, leaf lettuce. We thinned the beets, which is why they look a little bit sad at the moment because they had their neighbors taken away, but they'll bounce back. But we thinned those out so that there would be just very small baby beets, but lots of beautiful greens. And we took, it was like 20 pounds of radish, which was incredible. Green onions as well. All the onions that you're seeing here now are going to be leeks and storage onions. That's one of the crops that the Second Harvest has asked and said, like, these are the things that we do have to spend money on. Potatoes, onions, carrots especially. So we are growing lots of carrots. And we have lots of brassicas coming. So brassicas are the cabbages, cauliflowers, broccoli. Those are in and trying to get through the flea beetle, which is a challenge for us. And it's really nice to see that the tomatoes have perked up. They were pretty sad at first, but they are green and they are growing. They are ready. So the garden is looking so good. We have purslane amania here, so we definitely are needing some help with that. And if you are able to come up tomorrow evening, we're gonna have a little work bee. Now I know the weather forecast is very up and down. We have a shelter to build and we could use a hand. We also could use a hand with weeding. We are doing a really good job and yet it wants to also grow, and this purslane will take over the garden, and we could definitely use, if you have even time just to do one single row, that's incredibly helpful. So you can see here how one row of onions doesn't have purslane and the other one does. Now when it's in amongst the crop, it's a hand process. It's just getting in there and weeding them away. They come out very easily. But when it comes to the pathways, we have tools in the shed if you have access to that. And, it can make it for a really quick work too. So it doesn't have to be, down on your knees. There is jobs sometimes that are, standing only. So you can see over here, lots of purslane. If you like purslane, you can certainly eat it. It is edible, but for us, it is a competitor. So these tomatoes are starting to flower. We've got lots of herbs. We've got the seed garden is growing and it's definitely starting to produce seeds. We've got shelling peas. We've got the parsley, that's a biennial. You can see this big, beautiful onion that's going to flower anytime. The garlic is actually a crop, but it's still doing its thing. And then we've got things like parsnip, that sort of yellowy flower in the background. That's parsnips to produce seed, carrots, and more onions. And then we've got some pole beans going on. The Shuswap Family Center is taking part in this garden. We've set up this end of the garden, which is typically where we grew our winter squash. And this year now, they are going to be working with youth to be able to grow the garden. And they're going to sell some of the products that they make just by donation. It's just really about encouraging youth to learn more about farming and also about entrepreneurship. Elle-Marie has been very busy in the back. You've got this big mound. It's incredible, right? Look how big it is. And yet it's going to just break down into beautiful soil because basically all of this back area was these big mounds of weeds and grass. And now they are soil that is growing crops. So this is now where we have our winter squash, and actually those are really greening up and starting to take off too. You know, if you're ever here and you can help direct their growth towards the back, that's always helpful. Straw for pathways. These were onions that were remaining from last year, so we pulled some of those. And then the carrots, you can see the little fine fern carrot, but it also has a lot of weeds, the potatoes as well. And so we do have issues with the potato beetle, and I'm gonna come right in here. So there he is. Oh, hard to see, where am I? Oh, there we go. The potato beetle, this little guy. They will lay eggs, so that's the mature adult size. They will lay eggs underneath the leaves. So if you ever see little orange eggs, please squish them. And those babies that they grow and raise, they will defoliate the whole plant. And so we really always can use a hand with going through the potatoes and getting rid of the beetles. More carrots are growing here. Parsnips, so those were weeded, but it could still use some more help. We had a little bit of spotty germination, but they're there and they'll have more space to grow. We've got beans. Actually, we have more room here to grow more beans. We had started doing some pole beans and just hadn't quite finished off. But you can also see on some of these stakes, this is where we're labeling what has been planted here. And yep, we got more beans. This is where all of our summer squash, so zucchini is going to be growing here. And we've just done some radishes. So all of these stakes help us know what's been planted and that something has been planted in the garden. More green beans, celery, some kale, not as much kale as normal because really it doesn't get as utilized. And then as you can see, red storage onion, more tomatoes, and on we go. The perennials, you know, we've got currants coming. We've got so many raspberries that will be coming soon. Lots of herbs on the side, horseradish, mint, oregano, lemon balm. And then we're going to be waiting for these cabbages to size up. So the garden is fabulous. There's been so many wonderful people coming up. Sue, Elmarie, Rita, Nan, Linda. We have wonderful volunteers and we're so grateful because this garden would not happen otherwise. And so when we can have people coming up and lending a hand, many hands make light work, it makes it more fun, and it just makes this garden be able to produce food for our community, and it's so important. Today, Second Harvest told me they are serving up to 700 people a week on Wednesdays when they're providing food. A lot of families in need right now. It's not just, you can have thoughts on what you think is happening. It's working parents. It's hard to afford good food. Beautiful pollinator garden that's all filled in so incredibly. It's actually a little bit, it's a little overfull. And we're still just kind of working out this. We've got a little bit more compost left, more wood chips to put out. And right in the back there is where we have this shelter that we need to build tomorrow. 5:30, we're gonna come here. I'm gonna have some soup with me and some buns. And we need to get this built because we're kind of running out of time to do it. And tomorrow's the day. And if it drizzles, that's okay. If it lightnings, no, we will not do it. But I think we will not melt and we can do it. Beautiful day today though, gorgeous day. And we hope that you've been out there. If you can grow food, please do. If you can grow an extra row for our community, please share it. You can take it down to the Second Harvest on Tuesdays along with us anytime from 9 to 11 and take it right to their door, and they've got volunteers to accept it, or come up and lend a hand to us so that we can continue to grow this beautiful Shuswap community teaching garden.